Hello and welcome to Heartcast. Join us on a guided tour of New Japan. I'm Humphrey Erm.
And I'm Christian Claus.
Lifeline. Give me Rai Volume 1. Welcome to New Japan. Alright, it's taken a while, but we finally got to the original Valiant character. Do you think it was worth the wait, or...?
Yes.
So you liked it?
I loved it. It's like, this has become my new favorite character.
Oh, damn. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice with some positivity on these podcasts.
Yeah, finally. Finally, Chris likes something. No, this hits all the things. I mean, it's so fun. It's so interesting. The kind of detective type story that's going to happen now, added with a little bit of action. Then you got the cyberpunk, the setting. It's beautiful. There are some things that I don't like about it, but we'll get to that later. But I got to say, because I feel like the Eternal Warrior has some interesting things about it, but not like too many things. And because with, I think with the Eternal Warrior, the problem is it has a lot to do with the setting. So that's why he has now slipped onto a very close second.
Oh, wow.
Behind Rey.
Damn. Okay. So, but what do you think then?
Again, a very close second. I mean, we've only read 2 issues with Eternal Warrior, and they were just so vastly different that I don't really have a nice feel for what I can expect from him, you know? But this comic, it sets it up so well that I know what's going to happen in the next comic or in the next volume.
Well, definitely has good world building.
Oh, yeah.
But this is also the start then of, I mean, they've had hints of this. This is not our first time in 4001 AD. You know, volume 2 of what's called Eternal Warrior was that too.
Yeah.
So it's not, but this is still like the beginning of a more like a recurring series that's then running parallel to the events in the present, so to speak. If you understand what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. Because I thought, did you mention something that he was going to go back in time though?
I don't think so. Right?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, then I must have thought something else, because while I was reading this, I was a little bit anxious about suddenly, like, I don't know, like father deciding that, you know, that something had to do with that woman that died, that it had something to do with that she's from the past actually, or something like that. And that's why he can't identify her.
That'd be an interesting thing.
Yeah, well, I was kind of worried because I thought I remembered you saying something that Rai gets sent back to the past into the times when we see all the other characters.
It's a reverse Samurai Jack.
Yeah, kind of. And I was kind of worried about that because I love this world so much that I was kind of expecting, like in the second or third, or maybe then even in the 4th issue, that he then gets sent back, and then all of the stuff that I loved about this comic so far would be ruined. But it looks like they're going to be staying here, and I love it. I can't wait for the next one. And if it's another 35 episodes until we get to him, I am going to, I don't know, read ahead.
I was just about to bring that up. Where did I write that? I actually wrote that somewhere here. Also, because the art is so time consuming, it takes a long time between arcs. So the next volume for us won't be until our 52nd episode.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me?
Again, that's the thing, because, you know, when this started,
yeah,
it was like 4 months and then a long break.
Oh,
but it's still the same, you know, it's not a mini series. Like the next volume will start with issue 5.
Yeah, but still, I mean, come on.
It's Clayton Crane, man. But
I have to do, like, what? How many episodes is that then? 17 more episodes until we get to him?
Yeah, that would be it.
And then we also have our big 50th, which is then the Valiant, which is going to probably be like a long episode. I want to get back to Ray. Okay.
But that actually brings up a question I had here then. We might as well bring it up now. Because again, obviously the art is a big selling point in this comic.
Yes.
So Clayton Crane, we've seen this art before. So oftentimes in like flashbacks in other series.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think it was in Bloodshot. We saw like the Generation Zero, you know, those Harbinger kids. You know, when they're like infiltrating someplace. That was drawn by him. And if you remember in the first volume of Eternal Warrior, you know, when he's fighting those like those cowboy or those cavalry people and the Indians.
Yes. You know,
that was also painted by him.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, he's done a lot of covers as well.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely sure what from the look of it, it seems to be digital painting. So not like Alex Ross, who does it traditionally.
Yeah.
But again, it's just more time consuming. You know, he has all this extra rendering.
But I mean, it does look amazing.
Yeah, but then here's my question then. Let's go. Would you prefer it to have been drawn more traditionally? You know, sort of like, you know, yes, like all the other, you know, still good, of course. You know, you don't want whoever was on the Quantum and Woody 2. But, you know, would you have preferred just having more traditional art for this and then having it, you know, be published regularly? Or do you think that, you know, this wait is fine if it means it's going to look as good?
Yeah, well, that's kind of the thing. I would rather have the long wait and then have something amazing to read and to enjoy and to experience than have a monthly rushed comic where they take such a good start and then ruin it because of deadlines.
Again, you know, I'm not even saying that it has to be bad art. You know, I'm just saying more.
No. I'm not saying that bad art, but I mean, even with that, I mean, if you have someone who's taking so long for art, you have time to second and triple guess your decisions on like story wise. So it gives the writer also a chance to write a little bit slower, think a little bit more, take some more time to make sure that it's just right. And I think that is something that's really important, that I think we've seen a lot of other comics in the Valiant universe, which I feel could have used a second or a third pass. Just because, you know, there is a thing with the deadline. You get under pressure. You have to put it out. And I'm sure there has to be times when someone said, no, it's fine. Let's just do this because we don't have time to just sit around and wait. So I would rather wait the next, 17 weeks until I can read Ray again. Or Rye. I don't even know how. It's like my favorite character. I should probably start learning how to pronounce his name.
Yeah, I don't know. I've only seen one thing on when I was reading some of the first issues online. So they have had some kind of like letters, not a letters page, but some kind of like word from the editors, you know, Jim Shooter. Mm-hmm. So, and he said something about like it's pronounced rye. And yes, we've heard all the sandwich jokes.
Okay. So yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. I really just like the way it looks. There were some proportions that were a little bit off at the end, near the end of the comic, where I just thought that the Lulu's head was just like way too big for her body. And that was like the only thing that like jumped out at me. The rest is just so beautiful. I actually, when I started reading it, I thought that the first page was an ad. Probably because we've also seen this as an ad before, right?
We have, yeah. They were really hyping this up at one point.
Yeah, well, I mean, for a good reason, because it is worth the hype. This is so good. I think I have to go back onto the Valiant store and see if they have any Rye stuff. Because
well, I can get away with it so easily. It's the white shirt with your red circle on.
Well, no, that would be Bloodshot, right? You have to have those lines going from it.
Well, that's the thing. I have this as a point here. I'm not sure if we should discuss it now or later.
Well, you've already spoiled that for me, that he is based on Bloodshot.
Oh, yeah, no, not that stuff. It's more about like what's called a
stuff.
response, like what's called critical response to his design.
Okay.
Should we discuss it?
I mean, yeah, we should discuss it, of course.
Should we discuss it in our discussion podcast?
Of course we should discuss it in a discussion podcast. What are you thinking? This isn't a discussion podcast, is it?
So, yeah, no, first and foremost, I have to say that this information I got from the Valiant Efforts episode of Rye. So they brought this up as well as linked to this article about it. But apparently, there were some people who were upset about his like chest insignia.
Well, yeah, because it looks like the Japanese war flag.
Exactly. And for a lot of people, especially then like in East Asian countries that were had been colonized and invaded by Japan, they felt this was like the equivalent of having like a character with like a swastika symbol.
Yeah.
So again, as per usual, I think us two white guys, will have a nice perspective on this.
Yeah, we have the best perspective.
Yeah, we're not biased.
No, not at all.
No, but do you think it's something that fits here, or is it something that you maybe should have thought of? Because the original Rye had just the circle; he didn't have this kind of design.
Yeah, I guess they wanted to differentiate it from Bloodshot at least a little bit.
Like visually, I think it looks cool, but I get the point as well.
I don't understand. I don't. Well, that's the thing. Like we were saying, we're just two white guys who don't have like much of a connection to Japan or anything like that. But it would actually probably be interesting to ask our Japanese friend what he thinks about this.
Yeah,
because I mean, we could like text him and we could bring it up on follow up next episode. But because I mean, obviously, you and I are Europeans, so we have a certain feeling when we see the swastika. I don't have that feeling when I see the Japanese war flag, because the symbolism of that flag is not as apparent to us. Like everyone in the Western world knows what the Nazi symbol looks like, even though there's still some neo-Nazis who don't know how to draw it, as seen by all the graffiti. With this, I don't know because again, Rai is supposed to be a warrior. So it would kind of make sense to give him the Japanese war flag, if you know what I mean, because he's supposed to fight for Japan. And whereas the swastika was specifically made for a purpose, like it was a symbol that was created to represent the Nazis. I think the Japanese war flag, if I remember correctly, I mean, I could be completely wrong about this, was just their flag for war. Like it's basically the flag they used as like a war flag. So it wasn't like a specifically made for the Second World War or for, I don't know, I guess. Yeah, but it's kind of weird because like then the same people who think like, okay, well, I'm getting some sort of like feelings because he's using this war flag and my ancestors were invaded by Japan while they were flying this flag. Isn't that the same thing? Like if you're watching then a football game or something like that, where then let's say, I don't know, maybe us Finns have some sort of problem when we see the Swedish flag flying around because of the time that Sweden was our owner. I don't know.
Again, it's all, it's always a very complicated issue, especially, then as we said about for us who aren't having, I mean, I'm guessing like a modern generation haven't been directly affected the same way as their, ancestors.
Yeah, but that's the same thing with the swastika. I think, which I also think is ridiculous, is the feelings that a lot of people associate, like our generation of people associate with like the Nazi symbolism and stuff like that, kind of like get offended by it because it's kind of like, well, you didn't experience that. You know what I mean? It's not your burden to bear. So all the Germans in our generation and the generation above us, even for that matter, did not experience that. So it's also not their fault. The same way as you can't claim triggering from a swastika because that's not something that triggered you or had something happen to you. I don't know. I'm talking about my ass.
Yeah, no, again, it's an interesting discussion to have. So, and again, I really don't want to spoil things here either. So, no, but it's
17 more weeks, 17 more weeks, 17 more weeks.
yeah, no, but it's just I'm very curious if this discussion, like if because again, it's Valiant. It's not like when Marvel or DC does something.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Valiant, if anything, was like, oh, sweet, people get upset about something. Like they care.
Wait, they're talking about us? They see like a little bump on the Google Analytics
Yes.
for their name. Valiant Comics, just like a little bump.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God.
Oh my God, they care if we're being racist. Awesome. No, of course not. But
All publicity is good publicity.
no, but that's the thing, I mean, it's the slow news days anyways in some ways, but, people bringing up, Hydra, Captain America, and stuff like that. Normal news. No, but, normal, again, probably, hopefully not CNN and stuff, but in other, like, news shows, like mentioning
This
it.
just in, Captain America is a Hydra agent, apparently. Oh, man.
Yeah, no, but exactly. But, that brings, news. People discuss it. People get upset. So, but with Valiant, it's like, who would care? And again, it's so, we love Valiant, but we don't kid ourselves either.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, no, I just wanted to bring that up in that sense.
But I really do like his hair helmet.
Well, again, it's just a cool, he's sort of, again, he's sort of similar to Bloodshot in terms of his this sort of like, I'm not sure if they actually specifically say nanites in this one, but still, very similar in terms of.
Well, they kind of allude to it by saying that he can communicate with machines.
Exactly. And design wise as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, but
But I love it. I love it.
Though honestly, I'm looking at the cover right now. It's one of those things where, he's sort of this, again, well, obviously, we learn not the truly artificial person. But it's one of those things where like, okay, cool, this is his skin and how it looks like, and, his power surging through. And then he has these nice tight pants.
Oh, yeah, those nice tight pants.
But I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know, it's like obviously obviously he would be designed so he would be modest in some form. But
does that line go all the way down to his? Oh, it does. It extends through. Ooh.
So yeah, no, I don't know. It's just one of those things where, he's not a monster either. So it's not like with characters like the Hulk or the Thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, good thing that they're stretchy. Their pants were so stretchy. But it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just those pants. They don't feel necessarily part of him. Like I'd almost prefer more of a sort of, what's a good example? Like sort of like a Super Sentai kind of design. In terms of, yes, like a whole, he doesn't really have a pant division. It's just kind of more of a continuation, and maybe it sort of looks like this stuff, but it's still part of his skin. I don't know. I just feel like here's this super duper powerful guy, and he puts on his pants.
I mean, I know that you want him to more or less have like a suit, like a what are those things called? Like not a neoprene suit, but like a spandex suit. Yeah,
something. Yeah, or the like impression of it.
Yeah, but then but here's the thing: where does the line stop?
What line?
Let's assume that they wanted to do that whole
the flag, or like the symbol.
Yeah, yeah, because that's a very awkward thing to draw all the way down to his crotch.
Right, and then you have to really show off, the bulge of it.
Exactly. So I think they maybe they designed him in like one of those Power Ranger suits, basically, and then they drew the line all the way down. They were like, nope.
This is where we draw the line.
Oh God.
Yeah, again, this is pure. I think you're right though. It could be that they needed something that divides it.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. I mean, that's why you have like it's a design choice to just divide the body up as well a little bit, because I think if he was just all white tight bodysuit, I think it would be a little bit boring. I like the black pants. I mean, they don't look. I mean, yeah, sure, in the cover it looks very tight. But
No, I mean it's not terrible. It's just one of those things
No.
where, when you're thinking like within the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you can make that question about any costume, really. There's very few costumes that make sense.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just kind of felt they looked a little bit too normal. The pants, I feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm also kind of wondering is that this, like, why is he shirtless? I mean, obviously, no, but like, obviously, if I would look like that, I'd also never wear a shirt. But the thing is, because like, why not take him into this traditional route? Like, give him a kimono, like, or give him like a
cyber kimono.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of. Like redesign the kimono for a cyberpunk style. You know what I mean? Just because, he does fight a lot, but that's what samurai did too. The samurai also fought in armor and in kimonos. They could, it's something that like is not impossible to do.
So he'll get an upgrade in a later volume.
Oh, okay.
So,
because I'm just thinking like if he, because if he wants to have like he's supposed to like represent the symbol of Japan, and I mean he does have the Japanese red like rising sun on his forehead as well. So you could have the war flag on his chest, but kind of covered halfway with a kimono. Like, I'm not sure if then, maybe kimonos are just too hard to draw because of all the, like the flowing and stuff like that.
Yeah, but considering all the effort he's putting in anyways.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I like the design. I'm not going to say anything against the design in that sense, but I do sometimes question, like, well, why is he basically running around half naked? I mean, obviously, yes, he's a cyborg, and he probably doesn't feel cold and have any, like, he has a lot of resistance to weather and stuff like that. So it's not like, he's going to be freezing without a shirt on. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, again, like I said, I like the design too. I mean, it's very, it's one of those very simple, but, it conveys a lot.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to be a symbol for like Japan and stuff like that.
It's sort of Captain America-ish, he's, just a country-themed superhero.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's pure nitpick when I brought that up because I think it looks great. And also the nice thing with him, and more so than with Bloodshot, I feel, but that could just be the art itself. But he stands out so much.
So would you have rather have him look like, what is this, Psylocke?
Oh, Spylock?
Spylock, not Psylocke. Spylock. Would you rather have him look like that?
Oh, well, I guess he kind of has that. I'm not sure if I'd say compromise or something, but that looks like clothes suit. And it covers him all whole. And if we were to remove, if we were to put in the same, what's called imperial like flag and all that, I guess that would work. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't matter. But I think part of it also is the fact then that he's barefoot.
Oh yeah.
So it's part of those little things here. It's like I said, it's nitpick. Like I actually did not mean to be as long on it as here. I just wanted to have like a fun little thing. Like, hey, look, he's got pants on. Even though it's might not be necessary in that sense.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't necessarily feel it's part of him. You know what I mean? Like Father has created this super powerful guardian. But maybe it's supposed to. Pants.
Yeah, but maybe it's supposed to represent his human side.
Yeah, maybe.
Like if you really want to go into it, Well, yeah, because, basically he has a dick, He poops and pees.
Does he?
No,
so is that 1% of his humanity?
He burns so much energy, he does not need to poo or pee. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so definitely good art and nice design.
Yes.
What was mentioned on Spylock too. I haven't finished reading all of the original Rye issues.
Okay.
But I remember when we were reading that for our bonus episode, that like quick run through all of original Valiant. Spylock is a character from the original series as well.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to reading the original stuff more to see like how different he is. Because what's your thoughts on Spylock? Since everything's introduced here, so everything's
I'm still
new.
I'm still not quite sure if he's supposed to be a good guy or a bad guy. But then again, I guess the line is pretty blurred in this whole universe anyway. But he is interesting. I mean, he feels very kind of James Bondy.
Oh yeah.
But then again, I guess that's exactly what he's supposed to be, because isn't it, like he took the name from some sort of Batman-esque character, like a TV show.
Well, yeah, they had this thing here because they have vids and scrolls.
Yeah.
So, or vid scrolls, it says here. But yeah, no, it's an interesting idea. The idea that they're keeping this franchise within in universe going, and it's all sort of like a way to keep him sort of present and stuff. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Okay. But I gotta say, I do like that last page on issue 1.
One. Yeah, with the Spylock Spacefall.
Yeah.
Spylock Deadeye. So yeah, I mean, it looks very...
like, I honestly want to see those films. Like, just those logos and just the quick blurb. It's kind of like, you know what? That sounds... I can see this as summer blockbuster.
Yeah, definitely. Except, our universe wouldn't have a black actor in it, of course.
Oh yeah, it's going to be just art-wise again, something I wanted to... well, actually, there's a lot of art I wanted to, would love to discuss, but... I just wanted to mention that one, I can't remember the issue now, but when he runs off and he runs into the floor.
Yeah, that was issue... Wait, runs in or gets punched into the floor?
No, he runs. It's like he's running and it's almost like it's stairs, but he's dissolving into the floor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find it. It's... Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's issue 2 on page 19. This is again another one of those moments, as beautiful as it is here, it's again one of those moments I would love to see recreated in live action.
Yeah, well, this is perfect for live action. I would have loved to see this in live action.
Yeah,
I would like to make this in live action. I mean, Jesus, it's so wrought for especially now with Blade Runner coming back, Ghost in the Shell, all these kind of cyberpunk future movies that are coming out. This would fit so perfectly within that. We already got Ghost in the Shell. We're getting Blade Runner soon. This needs to be put into production tomorrow so that it can be out by next year, Christmas. So this is what Valiant should have started with.
Again, it's so difficult figuring all these things out and trends and all that.
And also, you could get an Asian actor and then just hide him behind whiteface, and then that would be fine.
Exactly. No, but yeah, I just love those panels there because it looks beautiful. Clayton Crane makes it very clear what's happening, but I just kind of want to see it in motion, making it really look like he's just stepping down some stairs while dissolving into the data stream.
Into data.
And that the splashing is just sort of like this little pixely,
into the data stream.
Exactly. Oh yeah, it's like water on a stream. But you know what I mean? It's I want to see that.
But aren't you kind of belittling the medium by saying that?
I know I do.
Isn't that the whole thing that we're talking about? Why does everything in comics have to be made into a movie? Why is movie the be all end all of storytelling? Obviously I was also saying how excited I would be to see this, but isn't it kind of sad that both of us were like, yeah, this comic's so great, I want to see it as a movie.
Oh no, definitely. Actually, no, I agree, and we discussed this before, either on our own, off microphone or off recording.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is very common. It's what I've heard people's problem with images these days. Thanks to Walking Dead, everyone's just trying to use image to sort of springboard their own, big media franchise.
Yeah, great.
But what's called? But for me, it's more here. Like here's more of a practical thing. Because again, it's very difficult to portray like motion in comics.
Yeah.
And here it's one of those things where it's very clear what's happening. But I would just personally, like, honestly, I would love just as someone doing it as like a stunt kind of thing, like a video
Yeah.
of just the scene. Just like a profile shot or something, or it's maybe the same angle, and just showing off their VFX skills doing this.
Well, I mean, that shouldn't be too hard to make. I mean, basically, you just need someone running down some stairs,
I guess.
and then you just build a 3D plane that you can then manipulate with particle effects.
I suppose. But still, I don't know. I guess the way it's portrayed here is like it's one of those things where it would just feel like this extra level. Because again, I'm not feeling like with the world, because we've seen that done in VFX plenty of times. Big floating cities, and
Yeah.
so that's not like anything that I'm like, I wish to see that, because it's. I mean, it would look great, but we've seen that.
Yeah, but also the whole idea that it's floating is kind of like in the background. Like, I thought at first that it wasn't floating; it was just like a really tall
Jetson style
world, or not a tall world, but like a tall city that just went on for miles.
Yeah, Jetson style.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, the idea that they're moving is somewhat story relevant, especially then in the next volume, I'm assuming. But I didn't feel like that's like a selling point, because I think this whole floating city thing isn't that interesting to us anymore because we've seen it so much, just like you said. So I think they beautifully then just kind of didn't call attention to it. I mean, they showed it with
he falls off in the first issue.
Yeah, exactly. So they showed it off, but they didn't mention it anymore after that, really. I mean, they only talked about the solar panels on the top, that they would then be, energy deficient, and then suddenly, I mean, I was assuming they never said it, but I would assume that they would then fall out of the sky. And otherwise, also then just all the way at the end when they then let off a little bit of steam.
Yeah, but it's one of those things I really wonder, because like they seem to like really aim at this poor little village. It's one of those things you're really wondering, could they really not have any other spot on Earth?
Yeah, it's like literally this kind of like, fuck those people in particular.
Exactly.
But I'm kind of assuming there's probably a reason for it.
I can't remember. Again, I've read I think I've read the first 3 volumes.
Okay.
But I haven't finished reading the event comic that was last year, 4001 AD.
Okay.
So, which had like all these things about, they had these tie-ins and like.
Oh my God, is there going to be an Eternal Warrior and Rai crossover in this age?
Do you want me to tell you?
Oh my God. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, because he did mention him, and then when you said again the whole thing that Eternal Warrior has also already been established in this world, I'm assuming that then, one of the villages that they try to destroy with the little exhaust thing is going to be like the Eternal Warrior's village. And then, like, because he's the Eternal Emperor now, and he's going to go up and fight him, and then it's going to be like a huge fight, and it's going to be so awesome. And I'm kind of like a little kid right now. I'm just like way too excited about this comic.
But again, that's so nice to hear. So, because it's, again, I really liked it too. But I got to be honest then, not to curtail your excitement, but I didn't like this the first time I read it.
Ah, you asshole.
Yeah, when I was...
Podcast over. We're never going to talk again.
No, but I remember, because again, I got all these in a bundle.
Yeah.
So, and I had no idea. I just, you know how it is with Humble Bundle. It's cheap.
Yeah.
It's like $15 and I can get like all of these comics. And the covers looked cool enough. And, I actually think the Quantum and Woody cover was what kind of made me curious, because it looked funny. But, like I had no idea of anything from what I was seeing there. So, slowly going through by name, sort of like, let's see, how about this one? And I remember, like, I remember starting it because, issue 1, I remember starting it.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, okay, cool, cover. I remember almost taken aback by the detail because I had been reading a bunch of the others. So I was a bit surprised that they had art like this. But, like, not complaining either in that sense. But honestly, when you just read the first issue, I felt it was very disjointed. Like,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I remember just being, I don't know, like, okay, it's, again, it's a mystery. So, of course, it starts with, some weird event that we don't have full context for. But, okay, these two guys, okay, it's, it's the future and stuff like that. And, where is this? And then this body stumped into this, like, aquarium. And we have all this narration by this girl as it's revealed.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess in a way for me, it felt very foreign, like everything.
Yeah, well, I think that's a kind of a problem with these kind of stories, is that you're being pushed into a world that you don't understand. That's so radically different. Not only is the dialogue different because, it's a different world. That kind of threw me off at the beginning when those ratties were like talking to each other. I thought, like, wait, does everyone talk like this? Like this old style, not really kind of English. It was just weird. But yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, and I don't know, and it took me a long time to read issue 2, 3, and 4, which was in the bundle.
Well, that's your problem there, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but still, I'm just thinking if I had picked this up as its first issue, not sure if I really would have continued, because I don't know, it just felt, and it's always tricky with these kinds of stories, especially this one where it's like really all new.
Like plot heavy.
Like, again, a lot of cool stuff is introduced, but it is very, and then again, it's like, I'm looking through this thing, as I mentioned, on my PDF reader here, I can like see thumbnails of all the pages. And it's told well. Like, I can't find an objective flaw with it. Especially considering the issues we've had with Valiant a lot with, the back and forth storytelling.
Yes.
This is at least, one constant flow besides, I guess some mentioned later. But I don't know, it's just kind of like, okay, takes quite a few pages before we actually get to see him proper, though it is a great splash page of this introduction.
Oh, yeah.
Cutting off that extra detail that he cuts off the fingers too. It's, it's like, because that had been like more of a, more like nicer, like superhero universe. He would have been so cool that he could just destroy, the weapon. But no, the little extra thing with the fingers as well. And but then like suddenly, a big monster guy at the end there too.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird.
It's a lot of running back and forth and like Spylock's introduction. It's like, what? Because he has a very distinct design, so he's very clear that you're supposed to pay attention to him. He's important.
Yeah,
but it's a lot back and forth, and you don't know who to trust. And I don't know. That's how I felt the first time. But then I wanted something to read, and I thought, well, I did pay for it. And then later on, it's similar to like how I felt with Game of Thrones. I didn't like the first time I watched the first episode.
Yeah, me neither.
Just way too many things. Yeah, like, good lord, who are all these characters?
Right.
But then once I watched it again, even the first episode, yes, from there, they already had little foreshadowing stuff. And then they're finally like, oh, right, that's that guy. That's that. Oh, yeah. And those two are fucking. That's right, yeah.
Right, those two are fucking. Yeah, that's basically the entire Game of Thrones.
So, but yeah, that's just, I had to say that it didn't sell me the first time around. But now, and with the later volumes too, I just feel like it's even better.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I think the only problem I had, and quote unquote problem that I had with this volume, was the exposition was laid on very thick. But I kind of want to excuse it because it was so good otherwise. And I understand that when you're in a world like this where people don't understand the political side of this whole world, they don't understand the socioeconomic side, they don't understand the class system, they don't understand literally anything about this world, you have to explain a lot. And I think they kind of did the best they could.
I think so
there's
too.
There's nothing like immediately where I would have jumped out and said like, no, this is how you would do it better. I guess the best way to do it is to have, Lulu writing this diary, or this bio as she calls it. And then also specifying that it's for a future generation who might not understand their current generation. Kind of like, just like a past generation reading this, maybe. So,
which is
I guess
kind of funny since it's
well.
already taking place in the far future.
Right. But yeah, so only good things to say, except for that one small bad thing. But otherwise, good things. Great character. I can't wait to see more.
So yeah, no, definitely, and I also like that. I felt this was also a great combination of being like its own standalone thing, by being set so far in the future, yes. But also the fact that it really has a lot of stuff with combining into like the past as well. From that quick mention of Eternal Warrior that he does. Mm-hmm. But then also like things like what's called like Silk, for example.
Yeah.
Like we haven't seen him since Unity.
That was the guy from that one comic, right?
Yeah, exactly, from Unity.
The cloning guy. Okay, yeah. Okay,
So
then I did make the connection. I made the connection.
Yeah.
That's good. So I'm getting better. And
it's one of those things then, because he's present here. I mean, we saw that they didn't get quite the last body last time.
Yeah.
But still, it then shows that should he do anything later in Unity or whatever, we know he'll somehow survive till 4180.
He just sits around.
But again, I love stuff like that though, because it's a way of combining things, and it must be very difficult for something like this to like really, okay, how do we make this fit in with something that takes place 2,000 years before? But I feel they do it very well. There's also something, and I can't remember if they have explained this yet, but they mentioned Livewire a lot.
Yes.
So I'm curious then if she, and again, I don't think we got into this part, or if they have, I haven't read it yet. But like, has she become like sentient electricity or something? Or is it just named after her? Did she invent this kind of technology?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, Silk did mention that he experimented with Livewire, or he worked a lot with Livewire or something like that, which also made me believe kind of like either he experimented on her or like on this entity. So maybe she just becomes this entity of electricity or something. I don't know. But it's again, these things, they set up questions that they haven't answered yet. But the thing is, we feel good about it because it's not these kind of questions that are just that we know are going to be rhetorical. They're just there to kind of like as filler. We know that these are things that are, because it makes the world feel natural. It's this world building. And I just really like that they're doing this, and I didn't mind that they were talking about Livewire without explaining to us, the reader, how the Livewire that we know has become this Livewire that they're talking about, or if there is even a connection. It doesn't even matter because they're doing it right. They're talking about it like if they're naturally talking about it like if everyone knows what it is, and we are going to find out at some point, either through future comics that have Livewire in it, where she then becomes this energy, for example, or it gets explained somehow otherwise naturally in a Rai comic.
Yeah, no, but exactly. I was going to mention that too. I always like it when they can manage to make these kinds of stories where it feels like it's a story that was like made in the time period it's being made in.
Yes.
It's kind of like Cowboy Bebop. It never.
Yes.
That does it so well there because it's, it never feels like it's, wow, look at this weird, future. It feels like, no, this was an anime made in the future. You know what I mean? Like and they're just very good at explaining either visually or through good reason with exposition. And yeah, no, it's, I just wanted to also mention, this I definitely don't know much about. Or if they have, I've forgotten about it. but Axe is also mentioned.
Oh, really?
Well, there's that Hulk guy at the end of the first issue.
The end of the first issue.
Yeah, like that guy who punches him off the planet. But we don't get his name until issue 2 at the beginning.
Oh, that guy was named Axe?
Yeah, Axe reporting in. The rye has been voided. Like at X.
Ah.
Again, it's who knows, but you feel like if they're gonna make this.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Well, again, it's a quick thing there. But again, I'm unsure then because, we just recently read Harbinger as well. And it's kind of like, wait, so does that kid become this somehow? Or is this his legacy? Like some technology that he made
Maybe.
Or a program? And again, and this is also the cool thing because, again, I don't think Valiant's going to be publishing for 2,000 more years and finally reach this point.
There's like a huge turnover at some point where Marvel and DC just fall by the wayside and Valiant becomes like the one and only comic book industry mega whatever shit thing. Like it's like this huge thing.
I for one welcome our Valiant overlords.
Yeah, exactly. DC and Marvel just kind of fall by the wayside and then Valiant stands as the only victor until 55 or whatever this is made.
Well, considering that they couldn't stay in business long enough last time to, go with the whole Shadow Man dying in 1999.
They learned from their mistakes, Humphrey.
Yeah, no, it's... No, but what I like about this, though, is the fact that then, how it's going to be interesting to see how the stuff in the present, will become this stuff.
Well, yeah, but the thing is... I think they'd made a smart choice putting it so far into the future.
Oh yeah,
was it 2,000 years?
Yeah, it's 4,180.
Right? Yeah, it's like 2,000 something years.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, I think it's smart because the small things that they do now in the comics, like in the now, won't directly affect anything in the future. So they can do things and reference things that could kind of survive the zeitgeist, but because it's just like one of those things like if there's a bombing in New York City in the now, no one's really going to be talking about it in Rye time. Because it was just one of probably many. Yeah, well, but that's what I mean is that by
no offense, 4,000, no offense to there. That stuff. It would be weird if they were still talking about it in 4,180.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Is that
considering also the events in the present of Valiant.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's what I mean. Is it smart that it's so far into the future where then even big events could become lost to history? Or just like school children still learn about it,
No, but I absolutely agree. It is the smart thing to do because it's not like all those movies like, that try to be topical by setting it just a few years in the future.
Yeah.
So like this is, again, plenty of room for error, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's interesting to see with stuff like that. And again, especially with characters like... Eternal Warrior. Well, actually, all three of the Anipada brothers.
Yeah.
In terms of...
Yeah, they're probably still bouncing around here somewhere.
Well, that's the thing, is Armstrong up here, drinking? Do they drink here? At least in that sense?
What?
I know there was a bar there, but, maybe alcohol doesn't work or...
It doesn't work.
Well, I don't know.
This alcohol is defective.
Well, it's...
Here, try this one.
Well, the whole... It's a police state kind of thing, they control everything.
Yeah, but it's also Japan, so.
Yeah, again, who knows, but yeah, that kind of stuff. It'll be interesting to see.
You just want alcohol to be banned. That's all you want. You just want it to be banned because you don't like it.
Yeah, it's gross. I don't want it.
Yeah, maybe everyone's just smoking weed.
Yeah. No, but But yeah, again, it's just very nice. And also, I mean, also thematically, it works well. Just the whole city, or like the whole, well, not city really, it's a country.
Yeah.
But the whole idea that is this, I mean, it takes the concept of isolationism to the extreme by having it orbit Earth.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, fuck you guys, we're going to be just float up here because we're so much better off without all of you.
And I love how
guys.
they've changed the vernacular, or like the
Yes, go to Earth.
yeah, go to Earth. I'll see you in Earth. It's like, what?
Well, considering what a hellhole it seems to be, it does seems appropriate.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, do people even know that people exist? I mean, wasn't that the whole thing that they were talking about? The exhaust that they were giving off is basically, what's it called? It's basically restoring the Earth so that they can go back to it at some point.
So, well, it seems to be at least their narrative.
Yeah, that's their narrative, right? But that's what I mean, is that the population of Japan probably doesn't know that there is an entire world down there.
And would they care?
And that's also, yeah, but that's also what I'm kind of wondering now with this whole technology thing, because we were talking about that in the Eternal Warrior Volume 2. Mm-hmm. What if someone like dropped a gun? I mean, obviously probably wouldn't survive, but just that kind of thing, like to think that all of these basically kind of Stone Age people who have, again, like we were talking about this whole thing about having the guns and not having the guns, which was a very lively debate that we had. Because basically above them floating is this huge city full of technology. So I think maybe it would be pretty interesting to see what would happen if this city suddenly had contact with those primitive people on Earth. But then again, maybe that is going to be answered in the future.
Well, we'll see. I mean, again, it's in the original series, it gets pretty interesting with that. Or should I keep that its own thing? Yeah, since you really like Rye, maybe you'd love to read.
Yeah, I think I might actually read the original Rye comics.
Again, it's going to be tricky, though. Like, I do have, that was part of the bundle. I do have the Valiant Masters Rye. So, which has, I think it's the first 8 issues.
Nice.
But, what's called, it's tricky there because he was first introduced in the Magnus books. Mm-hmm. They did like this thing where, like, you'd, after you finish reading Magnus, you would turn the comic book over, and on the other side, it was the cover for Rye #1.
That's pretty cool.
And as far as I can tell, they haven't taken those contents from those books, like, and republished them digitally.
Okay.
So
we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be clear enough. Like, they have enough of a explanation of what's happening. But still, it's kind of like this very true origin, like, the way he's introduced, we don't get to see and like officially. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I'll take a look, but yeah, definitely going to read more Rye.
So yeah, and again, it could be another one of those. So I mentioned that, like, I'd love to do as bonus episodes in terms of just reading through these samples.
Oh yeah.
Yes, to kind of get, okay, how does it compare? Is it, is there anything that you miss from these, like, old ones that could have been used, or is it a pure improvement, with whatever's the new ones? All right. But yeah, I think that's, again, as per usual. We've gone through most of the stuff here, or variations of them.
We already talked about the art quite extensively.
Yeah, well, again, it is a big selling point, and again, reason for its slow, publication date.
Yeah, again, more power to them if it continues to look as beautiful as it does now.
That's also where it gets tricky. That if Clayton Cray doesn't want to work on it anymore, are they going to try to find someone who can do it as well as him, or I
don't know.
No, but you know what I mean. It's like, because once you really establish it, like, connected to a certain artist,
yeah,
you won't like it later in the same way.
Exactly.
Which I guess is the smart thing why they do, shift them so much, because then you get used from the beginning. So you don't get attached. So, but he's a good artist, though. I remember reading So reading some like original Marvel Civil War, and he did a really cool Spider-Man story in this style. So I remember I didn't know it was him drawing it first, but it's like, oh god, that art, yeah, I know it's him.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's about it then.
I think so too.
So you know what's called any last words?
No, I don't think so. I mean, again, if anyone is doing a list, I think I'll maybe start one. This has now become my favorite character out there so far. I mean, I don't know if we're going to meet someone soon who's even better than Rai, but
again, I'm not sure
yeah.
when. Actually, I'm curious. Gonna have a very quick peek.
Have we met all of our characters already?
That's what I'm also thinking here. I was gonna have a quick peek at our list.
Do we have another number one that isn't like some sort of ensemble comic?
I'm not sure. I mean, actually, yeah, we will get. Well, this one I guess counts, but even then,
Who?
Dr. Mirage, but she was introduced in
Right.
Shadow Man, so it's more of a
yeah,
spin-off, even if she
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
she
will get
doesn't
one.
count.
We will get one other new character later.
Who is that?
Divinity. So, but it's right after Rye Volume 2.
18 weeks.
Yep. And then yeah, because this is also because after this it's a lot of like characters who split off from groups or like spin off.
Okay.
Like we will get newer stuff, like also of course the Britannia.
Oh yeah.
So what's called so that will be, but that's way along the line, way down the line. But yeah, no, it just struck me there too, like, cause it's kind of cool when they have something totally new. But now they but then again, they are introducing new things too. Along with Britannia, there was that other thing, Savage, which I haven't read yet.
It's pronounced Savage.
So, but yeah, it's so I do like that they are trying new characters. That's I mean, obviously they're a small company anyway, so I guess they want to try to just expand their IP library, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
But still, it's nice to see that they are trying some stuff and not just trying to make things that are spin-offs or what's called, variations or reboots. Because yeah, I'm looking for a list of the stuff I have on the list so far. So yeah, it's mostly just volume 7 of Exo Manowar and reboots of other books, because they're like reintroducing things.
Yeah.
So and like crossovers and stuff like that. But yeah, except for Divinity later, that'll be our first new character, or like new book.
Awesome.
Because we'll be getting new characters, of course, in these Saturn books. But yeah. No, I'm kind of glad you mentioned that. It just made it more kind of interesting. But it's also kind of cool because it's showing that they kind of have a world now. Like they kind of have a lot of different properties that kind of fill in a lot of like roles, I guess.
Yeah, well, they've set it up now. Now they can kind of play around with it.
Yeah, I mean, do we really need like a new, because Exo Manowar, fills a certain role.
Yeah.
Bloodshot fills a certain one, Harbinger. So it's all about like, do they have to come up with something new? Like they don't want to compete with themselves.
Well, they don't want to oversaturate.
Exactly. Do we really need like a lot of Harbinger spin-offs, for example? Because they have a lot of characters.
We'll just end up with the Batman family.
Which I think they do too much of.
Oh yeah.
So, but then again, that's me. But yeah, okay, yeah, that's we're kind of rolling up to an end here. But then we start discussing more. I'm just really happy we had that we both had a good time.
Yeah, I love this guy.
All right. I heard it. You laughed.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I laughed.
That was the 35th episode of Hardcast, detailing Rye Volume 1. For more content from me and Chris, follow us on Twitter at Humphrey_Erm and at Christian D. Claus. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or listen to us directly on valianthardcast.podbean.com. And remember to like us on facebook.com/valianthardcast.